I responded with, you and I are alive. I responded with, you and I are a lot alike. She looked at me like I was just being overly empathetic. Or maybe the poet in me was just being poetic. Or it's to say whatever to make you feel better tactic, but none of that was it. The goal in me sharing is not that we would both dwell in commiseration, but for it to be brought into consideration that you are not in isolation. Lately, I too have been trying to find the remnants of my hopeful spirit, like a couple of tenants that was just sick of renting it up and left, so a lot of things been stealing my joy like a colony of thieves. When the presence of injustice moves beyond national news to your local neighborhood, and the people who know you most for being vocal try to silence you, the overdose of fear that creeps into your skin makes you question your reason for living. And people outside immediate circles just making observations, all they see is a past year the sky became my main mode of transportation, state after state. Isaiah 6:8, like nothing I'd envisioned, always been the mission ever since the release of It Is Finished. And my world was turned upside down when she stopped me from the crowd to say that specific poem helped her get over a rapist. I wanted to say, I'm sorry that in this rape culture we're living in, the sermons you hear never go in that direction, that it left you to use your wrists as a canvas for condemnation. I wanted to say, I'm sorry that somewhere a church mother was too busy organizing bake sales to seek the details and to think coming home I can escape her face. Those brave yet burning souls in my mind I come home to find auntie's been lowered into the ground. I'm on the edge of graves and seeing shrouds, away from the shows, away from the crowds. Like when I'm broke and broken, will my words still be relevant? I found myself admitting I am weak. Sometimes it's hard to picture the reason for living when it just feels like your mind is in a prison and God wouldn't even visit. Thoughts so explicit, can't even fake resilience anymore, like that's all done for. When you mourn the death of your happiness because your spirit is torn, but nobody hears your songs. When you cry, they hear strings. When you sigh, they hear horns. It's a whole symphony played so strong, all ears, but can't even hear to ask what's wrong. Hoping you've seen it all along. See, you and I are a lot alike. So this is for all the ways they've seen past you and not at you. This is for all the how are yous that was only just a courtesy. This is for all the ways of assume you're above it, like you too and drowning in your problems. This is for all the sufferers being constantly asked, do you still believe in Jesus? And for all the reasons they are looking for you not to. Using those same lips that have been accustomed to tasting tears, the salty contents of oceans. Use it to tell them something sweet, that his name is Jesus, the one who suffered the most. And he insists he ain't gonna leave you. Let that be your hope as you've been waiting to rise. Like the corner of your mouths into half moons. You can force it enough for that Colgate smile conform for all to see. But could it just be that you've treated the symptoms and not the disease? I believe we're afraid what we may find, like we're not in control, as we think that we need something greater, that we need someone greater. We all suffer, but we're not a product of our suffering. The Son of God, the prime example that in this world they will persecute even the most innocent man. But thank God there's another place where all that's absent. I said, thank God there's another place where all that's absent, not only for a moment, but as an eternal component, that it would all be worth it in the ending for those who put their trust in him. Now you can look at me like I'm just being overly empathetic, that maybe the poet in me is just being poetic, or it's to say whatever to make you feel better tactic, but none of that is it. The goal in me sharing is not that we both dwell in commiseration, but for it to be brought into consideration that you are not in isolation. This is a sufferer's space, but not for long, not for long.